Marriage equality. Should gay marriage be a human right? Marriage equality is a tough subject, I think. It's sensitive and touchy. Right now, it's currently a right, but it's also a right that's currently being fought. It's something that I should be left alone because I think it's between those two people going through that union. Marriage equality is a right and should be seen as a human right. Not only that, I think that marriage equality should just be and is equal. So today I'm going to talk to you about both sides of what is marriage equality and how our world sees it. So, diversity in America. Well, diversity, as we all know, is more so spoken about when it comes to our race and our gender. But what about within marriage rights? People don't realize that diversity can also be categorized as our equal human and marriage rights. It's not just about race or gender. It's diversity, I think, is what makes people different. It's a way for us to kind of shine and show our uniqueness. When we were kids, I'm sure most of our parents had told us to be different, to kind of show off what makes us unique. But as we grow up, society judges that, and instead of being a union, we become separated because we're all so different. Diversity is such a mixture of differences in society, from our race to our religion to our choice in sexual orientation. And I think that it shouldn't cause a separation, it should cause a union. And being different shouldn't be scared, or someone shouldn't be scared to be different. It should be embraced. So, what about love? Well, love is a tricky subject also, but more so than what about love, it's what is marriage? Love brings people to that next step, which is marriage most of the time. It's a way for people to be more committed to one another and to kind of celebrate that love that they have. So, what is marriage? Well, according to the Webster Dictionary, it's a legal or formal recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship. Historically, and in some jurisdictions, specifically, a union between a man and a woman. Excuse me. Well, there are a lot of people that follow the parentheses version of that definition, and I thought it was very interesting that in that definition they had that little parentheses part added on, kind of specifying that it should just be man and woman. Well, who believes in that parentheses part? Believe it or not, there are two people in this world. One side believes in the parentheses part, and the other side believes in the non-parentheses part. I like to call those people the older generation versus the younger generation. I found an article from CNN, and it stated this quote, which I thought was very interesting. Among those 13 to 34-year-olds, 58% said same-sex marriages should be legal. That number drops to 42% among respondents aged 35 to 49, and to 41% for those aged 50 to 61. only 24% of Americans 65 and older support and recognize same-sex marriages. Well, I thought it was a very interesting poll, and it almost brings you to think, doesn't love matter to the older generation? As we noticed in the poll numbers I just mentioned, not every single person from the older generation feels the same way. There are some that are for it and some that aren't. So why do some disagree with marriage equality? Well, a lot of it comes down to religion and the influence religion has on a lot of people in this world. Religion is kind of, well, it's not kind of, it is people's faith. It's their separate law. It's the book they follow. So people are unsupportive most times because of this faith, because of their law. Well, looking at this poll chart, we actually see a lot of religions have changed their views. Roughly a little over 50% of Catholics now support same-sex marriage, which, if you were to go back a few years ago, Catholics were very much against it. I pulled this quote from the HuffPost that really kind of was an eye-opener. American Catholics support same-sex marriages because they are Catholic, not in spite of being Catholic. Interesting. If we look further into the graph, we can see that more religions than not really don't consider it a sin. But we also have to look at the ones that do consider it a sin. There are still a lot of religions that are very much against it. Like, for example, the Black Protestant are still very, very low and still against the idea. But the right to follow your religion is a human right, correct? Well, knowing your rights gives you the power to fight back against discrimination and harassment. We as humans have that right to fight for what we believe in. It's our equal right. It's not always something people want to do, but they feel like they have to just to bring attention to the subject and to allow some force or some hope of change. After all, that's how we got equal rights for men and women. People spoke up. People had something to say, and it allowed to bring attention and talk to the matter to eventually bring change. Human rights are our equal rights. And love is a human right. At least Article 16 kind of says so. And I'll read the quote from Article 16 of the Declaration of Human Rights. Men and women of full age without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion have the right to marry and to find a family. They are entitled to equal rights as to marriage, during marriage, and at its dissolution. So basically, at least as of right now, our human rights allow us to marry whoever we please. In conclusion, I think that society has gone back and forth on the matter too much, as we've seen from the older generation to the younger generation to religion, how that factors in. We have changed from moving forward to going backwards. And I think that we finally reached a place of solidarity. And to backtrack would just make us go back in history. We have our human rights for a reason. And the change in some religions and older generations should show the change and growth that we can make in the world to create an acceptance, no matter who you are or who you'd like to marry. Thank you.